All right, as expected, we're doing our usual Monday stream. Um, I'm going to try to lay out my points, and hopefully, I don't get interrupted with nonsense, but that seems to be the case on this website when you do a stream. I did a video this past Tuesday about the fact that I'd been criticized for everything, and I showed screenshots to support my claim. And I was really impressed with my work, which I don't usually like to brag about because I think it's a waste of time to blow smoke up my own behind. But I really liked the video because I put a certain amount of editing into it that I didn't usually do. I'd written a script that was longer than most of the ones I usually have because part of showing the screenshots was also addressing why the things that were being said, when put under scrutiny, really did not hold up. And I would have liked to have seen more of my subscribers who oftentimes claim they like content such as that address what was stated in that video. And I decided to, I guess, speak about this on a stream on Saturday, and I wasn't angry, I didn't yell, but there was a user who came on the stream. I had seen them one time before, and they said that I sounded perpetually disappointed, and why do I stay on YouTube? And I thought to myself, it's insane to me because most people who post videos on this website, unless they put it unlisted, want people to watch their stuff. They have the comment section enabled so people can leave replies. So I was supposed to feel bad for wanting something that a majority of people on this website are actively seeking by virtue of doing the same thing as myself, which is posting content that allows people the ability to comment. And it was really amusing to see the user who wrote that because I've mentioned before, I have a pretty decent recollection where certain usernames pop up and I remember that person or something they said in the past. And this user does what I call drive-by typing, where they go, and I describe that as an individual who types a comment that's kind of combative. And then when their comment is addressed, they run away. Where they're not really there to have a conversation about whatever their position is. They're just here to make an insult and then quickly dash away before their response is ripped a new one verbally by myself. This person has appeared on 2 streams, 4 months apart, and they've written a total of 3 comments, and every single one of them has been confrontational. And the only reason I didn't get rid of them back in September was because I was under the assumption that, like a normal person, they would get disinterested in watching somebody that they thought all this nasty stuff of, and then they would leave and never comment on their things again. But apparently that wasn't the case. He came back and claimed he was asking from a place of curiosity as to why I would continue to post content on a website where I was perpetually dissatisfied. And I responded to that comment by saying, I don't think if I went through the entire past year worth of streams I've done, that you can find more than maybe 2 streams at the most where I've complained about audience reception to something I've made. I didn't have a problem with the views on that video. 100 views is actually pretty good for me. I would have just liked for people to be more engaging with what was described, especially since I know that on YouTube people love typing paragraphs. So that was one video where I would have liked to have seen people analyzing things in such a way, because I thought it was very thought-provoking. It certainly provoked my thoughts when I was writing the script. The idea that you would always have this internalized fatal flaw people who've never met you before would use as a means of justifying why you weren't able to get with someone. I thought it was a really interesting topic. And it's so insane to me that according to this person's logic, I would want to quit posting content after doing a video that I thought was one of my best on the topic. So I'm supposed to have a problem, so big of a problem with what other people do on this site, to where I decide to give up, not because I've done something I'm ashamed of or I don't put out content that I myself like, but because of the lack of response by other people, which I have no control over anyway. But this is what I was talking about when I said there is a sickness on this website where people are overly antagonistic to the point where when you exercise a wish for something that is very simple, or rather something that you know a lot of other people want, it's treated as this insane request. Let me read what Megumi said. This was on the last stream that happened a couple days ago. I saw that clown's comment. Also, hey, yeah. And what I don't understand about a person like that, right, is I remember when this individual commented on my stream in September and they seemed dissatisfied with me. So when they left after their 2 comments, I didn't block them because I figured they would never show up again. Because I don't know who does that, where they don't like somebody. They know they don't have, and the person they're talking about knows they don't, but then they pop up months later. But that's why I said I have a crusty rogues gallery, because the same people who say they don't like you will still come to watch your stuff. But again, going back to what I was saying, I can't think of a single content creator on here. I mean, it's like, why do you think people make videos celebrating that they have 100,000 subs or a video got 1 million views? Because people on this website like to know that something they created has attracted what is at least a number of eyes to it. And it's just really insane to me that the one time I say, hey, I would like people to actually talk about what was said in this video. And then imagine having someone who you've only seen comment twice in what is 3 months, a quarter of a year, try to tell you that you sound like you're perpetually dissatisfied. It's like, oh, you don't even watch me. How would you know if I was perpetually dissatisfied? That's just like that person on that stream in November that said, I'm invested in your growth, and they've only commented on my stuff 1 time in the last 2 years and never donated. I actually told my best friend about that. He got a real kick out of that person's comment, like to where I could barely finish saying it before he started laughing. That's what it is. I mean, think about it. There's this thing that people like to say, which is that because that person that wrote the like "you're mediocre" comment, I let that individual sit on my stream for half an hour. And I've said before that when a person has a position that they believe in and someone doesn't believe in it themselves, if they're confident of that position, they take it with them and walk away. So if somebody comes on my stream and says you should go to the gym, and I say I'm not going to do that, if they truly believe in what they're saying, they would just go somewhere else. Because I don't give advice to people who refute it. But to like sit there and then get into this philosophical debate about the impact you've had on others, and you can't live without romantic relationships. Just it was a person who was going out of their way to be as antagonistic and argumentative as possible. And then it's like they're surprised when somebody wants to get rid of them. Literally, the last 3 people I've banned on the stream, I've told them ahead of banning them, just go watch somebody else, go somewhere else. I always give them the option to leave, because they're not. If a person disagrees, there's a way to do it. And I just don't know anyone who would want to talk to somebody that calls them mediocre, someone that's never met them who would refer to them in that manner. But like I said, those keyboards make people feel real strong. They make them feel really powerful. No, it was drive-by typing. When that same user showed up in September, I responded to both of his comments and he vanished. This is what he did. I'm gonna start doing. I'm just gonna show up on a random stream. You're a piece of trash. That's exactly it. And again, I don't. If people want to disagree and have a discussion about it, whatever. But when you're gonna come and write some like combative comment and then vanish, it doesn't really seem like your mission was to actually get to the bottom of something. It was more so just to like distract somebody or, mess with them a little bit before you run off somewhere. I just love it when people describe things in such general terms that they can't even give examples of what they're talking about. Like when he said I was perpetually dissatisfied, it's like there's no examples of that. He doesn't say, oh, you on this stream you said this, on that stream you said that. It's just you are always this way. Okay, if I'm always that way, wouldn't there be plenty of examples? Like if I said that on, let's say one of the news networks, right? That one of the host always uses swear words. I could go on YouTube and grab a bunch of different clips of that person swearing if that's something they always do. I wouldn't just say you're always doing this and then no example. They seem to get a kick out of it. Maybe that's why they stick around. But it's like you vanish for 4 months after writing 2 combative comments, and then you like reappear to write another combative comment, and each time your comment gets addressed, you disappear after the comment is written. But that's why I call him a drive-by typer. Because if I was really trying to understand someone's position on the topic, I would actually stick around for when they address what I have to say. I think a lot of people are used to like, you know, those big channels, like the ones with hundreds of thousands of subs where they don't even read any of the comments that people write in their chat. And they think they can like do it on smaller ones and not get any reprisal. I never thought I'd see the day where wanting to get more people to comment on your stuff was like a bad thing. Don't ever ask us to write anything in response to something you did. Hell, I wasn't even opposed to, like, if somebody wants to come on there and say, I agree with this, but I disagree with this part, you know, if, again, those types of comments, I don't have a problem with because they're actually addressing a point I've made and not talking trash about the way I look, which has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But you don't even get that. It's just, it's like deafening silence. And that's why that it was really crazy that I've seen multiple instances where I've like asked something of my subscribers and people get mad. It's really weird. I can't tell you how many people I watch where like at the end of the video, like, if you like this video, give it a like or leave a comment or subscribe, and I don't even do any of that. And then it's like on this one specific video where I put a bunch of effort into it and people comment. It's like this entire website is built on people wanting to get views for what they create. And then when I do it, it's like a sin. It's some bad thing. And I don't even do it regularly. I just asked for it on one video. I actually can't think of another video where like I actively said I would have liked people to comment on this, because I really did just reach a I don't, what's a good way of saying it, a conclusive point where I just figured that, you know, getting all bent out of shape over people not saying anything wasn't going to, I guess, be productive for me in the long run. But on a video where I do a bunch of editing on a topic that a lot of people say they like, I would have liked to have seen people comment, and that's apparently a bad thing or some kind of extraneous request. And it's always a person you barely ever see or don't know that comes on your stream magically to appear and harass you. That's a good point. Kind of comedic how they accuse you of being something, but then they don't give any evidence to support what they're saying. Well, it seems like a lot of my detractors really do. And it's ironic that they would, you know, like in that video, I show evidence of what people have said about me. But it seems like a lot of my detractors do that, where they don't give any proof of what they're talking about or examples, and they just make a statement. Like if I say, this person is always writing stupid comments, and then I don't say what stupid comments they've written in the past, it doesn't articulate or explain how what they write is recurringly stupid. So it's just me making this observation without providing examples of why I've come to that position. So they love doing that. Remember the comment, you probably approach in a weird way? Person never seen me talk to a single broad, never even met me, but they know how I approach. No, like a lot of those romance people are just, their whole argument is built on making assumptions. Even though a lot of the stuff they say is assumptions. Like they assume all of these women are so amazingly beautiful and they're all like attractive. And then I guarantee you, if I put up half of these broads pictures, people will be calling them ugly. No, that was one of my favorite things when I would like read different forum posts that people wrote where they're like, why do these men want the most beautiful women ever? And I'm like, okay, if somebody talks to enough chicks to fill up several basketball teams, you're really gonna say that every single one of them you think is so attractive? Like it's them creating an excuse in their head to justify stupid, repetitive behavior by the opposite sex. They have no proof to support their position, but they'll say it anyway so they can justify you getting the overdone, ridiculous result that you have. Well, but that's the thing, Vince. It's not my opinion. Everybody on this site that puts up videos for the public to see wants someone to watch it. And if they have the comment section enabled, they probably want somebody to comment on it as well. So the one time I ask for my subscribers to comment on a specific video that I put effort into, you sound perpetually dissatisfied. They think because they use a big word, they're smart. I can just picture him opening up his thesaurus. Let me pick out a term to use. And they can never give any examples of what they're talking about. I think if I were to just off of memory, the last stream I did where I complained about views was like the hard work doesn't matter one. But even that was just like a general topic thing where I was just talking about, um, like when you put effort into something you would like to see, because they always say that if you put more effort into your stuff, people will watch it. And I wasn't even complaining about people the amount of views. I just wanted people to comment. I know, right? They won't even stick around to respond back to the person who addressed their comment. Well, that's why I can't take them seriously, because it seems as if their entire mission is to just be as antagonistic as possible to you. True, guarantee they read or heard that somewhere in the past 60 days. Yeah, they stole it from another person. If you think about it, anyone can say anything about everything, but what matters is the examples provided in evidence. I could say that Vince goes around lying on people online and slandering them, but if I don't show any proof of him doing that, it's just me making a claim. Because I told you what the reason most of those romance videos are edited now is because I have a plethora of screenshots, including the one I'm going to do this week, that support my claim, that make it to where when people try to argue with it, they're trying to use their like headcanon to justify stupid stuff that people do in real life. No, there's a real love of people on this site to not use evidence. They love doing that. But it was the same thing with a lot of that chick stuff. It's all tied together. Hey, by the way, if I do a video on the voice actors, I was actually going to make the case that so like a lot of people when you have bad things happen to you, when they're antagonistic, they try to blame you for it. And I was going to say that the reason I'm in the right when I say that voice actors are flaky, they're not reliable, they lie, is because if you look at their last messages to me before they quit, you would see a repeated pattern of them apologizing to me. Like if I'm such a jerk, why do they apologize? If I've treated them so wrong, why are they apologizing? If somebody treated you badly, would you apologize to them? I wouldn't. No, like the last two VAs that quit, I have messages where they're like, "I'm so sorry. I know you were counting on me. I'm sorry I didn't respond." If I'm in the wrong, why are they apologizing to me? Nobody's gonna explain that. If I did something so incorrect, why are they the one who is apologetic? I'm telling you, Vince, if you see that VA that stabbed me in the back in November, I waited for that person for 7 months, and they wouldn't write anything back. And then they were like, "Oh, I'm going to come back and record some stuff." Just to 1 week later, announced they weren't going to record anything else. I was so angry. I know you were counting on me, and I told you this previous week that I would do stuff, but to hell with you. And like I said, that person in their message apologized to me because they knew I waited over half a year for their silly self to write something back, and what they did was very disappointing and very lazy and stupid. This would make one of the greatest sitcoms. What, a show where like every episode is like talking to some different broad, and then there's always some like the new way in which they get to the same conclusion. Vince, I told you that it's like people really do like men being miserable. Because if it ever came out that I had agreed to marry a woman and then reneged 5 days later, I would never hear the end of it. But when it's done to me, it's all right. Imagine the comments that'll be written. I can't believe you would do this to her. She loved you and you treated her so poorly. And you're flaky. Don't like you. You aren't a good person anyway. But what about the times when they want you to be friends with them? Yeah, uh, Megumi, in the message that I'm gonna show in this video that's coming out this week. I don't know if it's tomorrow or on Wednesday. I have to finish the script. You're literally gonna see a woman who called me her friend that I met like literally 2 weeks after we started speaking, and then treated me like trash. But it's like, if you're such garbage, why do they refer to you in these amicable manners? Was that her trolling? If you are giving compliments or attention of any kind, they want to be your friend. Yeah. Attention is a currency. Well, hell, even my detractors, if they make a good point, I'll respond to it. But if they're gonna vanish after writing their comment, it doesn't really seem like they want to have an actual dialogue and understand. Like, who the hell wants to understand something by writing some confrontational comment and then disappearing after writing that? That's like me pulling up in front of somebody's house. Hey, can you tell me why you hate me? And then as the person comes out, just drive away. I'm saying next time, if that person shows up again, because I remember their username, that's going to be their last comment. They're going to have a trilogy of appearances. They showed up in September. They showed up on Saturday. This is going to be their final day if they pop up again. Because I don't know where that's normal to like vanish for months. And every time you write something, it's weird and argumentative. That is crazy. I don't get people on here at all. Someone is probably rearranging plans because you said that. They might be, but it's still stupid. You should feel ashamed for wanting people to watch the stuff that you put up for the public to see. Imagine if a newspaper got disappointed that the people weren't reading their magazine. They're like, you should just be happy that you're reading that you're able to do this. Like, no, you want people to see it. Like, every person reacts with displeasure if they don't get the response to something that they created and put effort into that they would have liked. When the Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out and all those reviews for it were negative and the returns weren't what Sony wanted, they were upset. And while they had a financial stake, and I don't have that, um, it's still of a similar pattern where somebody puts effort into something and then, it doesn't go the way they want. So they have displeasure with that. Um, it's just a normal emotion. All of these people get upset over stuff. Really is stupid just how many people are like that. Astonishing. Something else astonishing that got canceled, X-Men, after that flop that was Dark Phoenix. They decided to reboot that. Spoiled eternal children. Yeah, but think about that. They're allowed to criticize me as a content creator, but I'm not allowed to criticize them, or like not even them, specifically, but just audiences and their reaction to something. How's that work? They get to crap all over me and what I make. But if I say something about I'd like people to comment on this, to watch that, and apparently me being perpetually dissatisfied didn't stop that person from watching me. There is no way in hell I would watch, like, because apparently that's supposed to be like a bad thing, being perpetually dissatisfied. I don't even know what that means. But it's like if I would describe someone I watch as being that, I wouldn't even watch that person. Infatuation. I don't know what's wrong with them. Yeah, every time that person writes a comment, they're confrontational. To come to such a conclusion, surely they were studying you. Well, if you're studying someone, wouldn't you be able to give examples of them being perpetually dissatisfied? Because if you think about it, the word perpetually means recurring. So that means you can give examples, right? Because it's happened over and over again. If I say that I read a comic book and the hero perpetually fights their arch enemy, I can cite multiple issues where they fought each other. I wouldn't just say that and then not give you any proof. Some studies said masks don't work. Wow. That this is a very poor study on his part. You're going to make a claim with no evidence. I like proof when I try to lambast somebody. I like to be able to cite something they did perpetually. I still have the clown's comment. I screenshot on that deleted stream. It was right in my phone. Because when I saw that, I said, I know I am not reading what I just thought I read. Sounds like you are perpetually dissatisfied. Why do you stay on YouTube? I'm asking genuinely, not from a place of judgment. How the hell are you going to be asking not from a place of judgment, but then describe my dissatisfaction as being perpetually dissatisfied? That means you are making a judgment. You're assessing my, I guess, disposition that you assume that I have in a certain manner. You don't get on YouTube on the weekends to offload your childhood traumas and adult and anxieties and other people on the internet. Oh, you're saying that that's what he's doing. That means you don't need to take their comments seriously at all whatsoever. It's so crazy though that like that streams are the only time, because like I don't see people writing this kind of crazy. Like if people write crazy stuff to me, it's usually them talking trash about someone I'm doing a video on, like a politician. I don't see these types of like combative things being written on videos. It's always during a stream where these people pop up and they want to have like either a back and forth or they try to write something evil. Like I don't know what that is, where it's like streams are the best avenue for these people to show up and create some issue. Clown isn't even making sense at that point, a huge contradiction. That's like me saying, Megumi is you look very redundant not having a profile picture. I'm genuinely asking why you don't have a profile picture, not from a place of judgment, even though I just said you look very redundant by not having one continuously. So I just judged you while then saying I'm not judging. Hey, Megumi, I alluded to this in the stream from Saturday. Imagine if I told you that I wanted you to get over something I did to you in 2011 and 2015, as I keep bringing up something I think you did to me in 2007. So you're supposed to forget about what I've done to you, which has happened more recently, what I did to you, what you did to me rather, but you're supposed to not like remember what I did. Like those my stuff is supposed to be scrubbed from your memory as I keep mentioning something that you did that's even further back. How does that work? A reaction and a stream is a place to get it instantly. I still can't go over the person that said I run my chat like a dictatorship. I'm like, if these people don't try, like every time they come, I don't just immediately ban them. And they've insulted me repeatedly. That guy that was on that stream in November got to call me mediocre, say I had no upward mobility. What was the other one? Tried to say I took his comments out of context. I'm like, all he did was insult me for half an hour, and he still didn't get banned. I even told him just go, leave. If we're so bad and we're doing all this stuff, you just vanish. You won't be missed. And they wouldn't leave. So, like, this is what they mean when they say that it's a dictatorship. You cannot have a single instance where you get tired of responding to BS. You just have to listen to it for the entire stream. They are entitled to harass you every time you turn on your camera and start streaming. Because look, even if I ignored them, the chat wouldn't. Magumi, do you remember the stream where a certain user who's not banned, so I don't want to say his name, um, wrote comments to me for over half an hour. Can you see me? Hello, hello, and then started insulting me as the rest of the chat was responding to him instead of me. Like these people don't know when to leave you alone. And even when they're offered the courtesy of not being banned but leaving on their own, they refuse. The stupidity continues and intensifies. Some of these guys think kids are being in pizza shop dungeons. Vince, you can't. Okay, I can't. How am I supposed to? If by muting you mean banning them, I'm saying that when someone says you run it like your channel like a dictatorship, and you literally sat there for half an hour talking to someone who not only disagreed with you, which are fine, I don't care about disagreements, but jumped from topic to topic as they insulted you repeatedly and accused you of things. You're like not allowed to get sick of that person even after you tell them to leave if you're all these bad things that they claim that you are. I mean, I don't understand these people at all. Like, what normal person wants to sit there and talk to someone who calls them mediocre, not because they've done something to somebody, but because they're not with a woman that they've never met, by the way. And it's like, who wants that? You're not allowed to be human. And my thing is with the censorship thing, right? You get banned from one channel. Do you know how many damn channels there are on YouTube? How many millions of channels are on this website? Like, I always thought when someone was censored, they couldn't give their opinion. If somebody blocks me from their channel, I can still talk trash about them on my channel by making a video about them, by posting in my community post, or just all these other channels I'm not banned from, I can still speak on. But if I'm banned from this one person's channel, my voice has been excoriated from me. Yeah, he's too stupid to forget. Too much of a fool to forget. No, too foolish to forget. There we go. People are trolling on streams of people with disabilities. There's no bounds or limits. It is what it is. Well, look, I understand that people harass everybody. I just don't understand why it's like supposed to be a bad thing for me to say, okay, I'm sick of this. To hell with you. Get off of here after I tried to have a conversation with the person who disagreed with me and they insulted me over and over again. And then even when offered the option to leave voluntarily, they refuse. They just want to keep typing stuff. And then even when you address one of their points, they just jump to something else to have a never-ending back and forth. Like where does it stop? As Elon Musk recently said, fate loves irony. I don't really know what's ironic about this. I mean, I don't do this to people. See, for it to be ironic, I would have to go to streams and like antagonize somebody over and over again. I don't do that. It's probably not meant to be understood. They are just doing their job in the ecosystem of humanity. It balances something somewhere. Okay, that's philosophical stuff. I'm not here to get into. This isn't pseudoscience. It's ironic because you said it doesn't bother you and you don't get it, but it's a daily topic. Well, it doesn't bother me in the sense that if people want to do it, I'm not going to, like I would just give if someone wants to come and have a disagreement where they actually address what I have to say, I don't really have a problem with it. But if it's just going to turn into an insult fest and another man talking about the looks of another man, I don't like this isn't the YMCA. Take that somewhere else. Like I don't want to engage in the homoerotic subtext of having to answer questions about my body for another male. I've been looking at you and I've assessed your physique from a kid. Like, okay, can you go be creepy somewhere else? Damn, like YouTube and Wikipedia have the creepiest people on them. Because on Wikipedia, they stalk you on that website. And I mentioned that they like follow you around, and then they're dumb enough to tell you they don't need you while they have donation buttons begging for money every couple of months. I said, you guys don't need my money. Get it from the clowns that talk trash to me on this site. Empty their pockets out. Well, Gumi, how insane would it be if you were on a website where they encourage everyone to volunteer by contributing, and then one of the users writes a post saying Wikipedia does not need you. It's a general post talking about how you're not special enough to this website to be someone that the site needs. And then they're asking you for money as you're on the site looking around and telling you how much they need you to contribute to keep their crappy site going. Yeah, Wiki Piss. My little brother got a real kick out of that nickname. Because I told you when I go to the article, I'll change the like pedia part to piss, and he's like, this is how did you do that? If I ever did buy that site, I would change its name to that, and like the avatar would be like it would look like a river. Like I couldn't make it yellow because then it'd be too obvious, but it would have like the silhouette of pee or some kind of liquid. I always laugh at that message when I look on and Megumi, they ask for it like every couple of months. So clearly people aren't giving enough if they have to keep begging, multiple times a year. I haven't not donated. Well, I should say donated my time. I haven't contributed to that site since May of last year, and I don't plan on ever again. When I did my video, I hung up my hat. Go treat somebody else like trash that volunteers for your little boo-boo site. They will drive you crazy on there. They just like I explained everything in that video, but sometimes I just think about the stuff I was willing to put up with just to contribute on a site where the people are so evil that they'll tell you that you haven't done anything for it. I just couldn't take the abuse. It's like I don't need to have an abusive relationship with any of these broads, and I especially don't need to have an abusive relationship with people on a website that's so crappy as to write an article telling you don't matter as they beg you for money every couple of months. Somebody else left me a message. I was gonna do a video on how like a lot of people have like to spoof when a man gets angry with a woman for turning him down. And I was gonna talk about how like it just seems really weird to me that people make jokes about that because anytime something doesn't go your way that you put effort into, I would think you would get upset over it. Like if you apply for a bunch of jobs and you hear nothing back, wouldn't you get angry? If someone slams their car into your vehicle and damages it, wouldn't you be angry? Like I don't understand. That's why I said like a lot the romance stuff dehumanizes men because anger is such a normal emotion to have when things don't go your way. And then to see people like making it a spoof, like, oh, this person looks angry. I bet he's gonna try to rape somebody. It's like this is really the inference that you draw. Because I was extremely pissed off when that woman agreed to marry me and then a few days later reneged. But like I don't know what reaction I was supposed to have to that. Am I supposed to smile like, hey, thanks for wasting my time? Give her that Halloween 3 clap? I mean, I just really don't get people and like how they turn normal reactions to things into, I should be honored. Yeah. For 100+ hours, you were my fiance, and now to hell with you. But like, I don't know anybody that gets turned down. Like, just out of all the people I know that have admitted that, right? And doesn't get upset. Now, they might not curse, they might not, go into some rage fest, but it's very clear that it is a normal thing when something doesn't go your way, including with people, because you can look at a lot of platonic relationships where people have falling outs and they'll get upset with the other person and, angry. And it's like, this is the only thing I've ever seen where, uh, you know, they just think it's normal to like get, to make fun of somebody for being upset over. It's like getting 5 minutes to talk to a celebrity. Yeah. Well, hell, the way that people talk about chicks, you would think all of them are damn celebrities. She's out of your league, even though we've never seen what she looks like. We just know because we have the sixth sense. And they have a spider sense for whenever a woman is out of your league. Like, I don't even know what that means anymore. Because like literally every time you talk about a woman and they're antagonistic to you, you can infer that they think she was too good for you. And I even did a video breaking that down, how like I could have a mansion and a Lamborghini, and then some broad doesn't have a pot to piss in or a car, but as long as she's like looks pretty, people be like, "Oh, she's out of your league." And you know damn well that if a woman owned that type of stuff, and I said no to her, like she owned the mansion and the car or whatever, and I said no, and I was living in whatever, nobody would shame her for me telling her that I'm not interested. Like her self-worth would not be predicated on, me turning her down because they'd be like, to hell with that four-eyed nerd. You know. Apparently all of them are out of your league, even the low ones. But it's like all that phrase rather exists to do is just try to make you feel ashamed of yourself over somebody else's decision. That essentially must mean that they have been out or know every single woman then. It's funny too, because like you can get some of these men to admit that not all women are good, but then it's like coincident conveniently every single one you've spoken to they believe is better than you. So like in the abstract, they believe that there are women who are of lesser quality than you, but they've also convinced themselves that all of the ones you've spoken to are so amazing and great and magical. And like I said, I don't know anyone who would look at a scenario like this and still want to keep it up. And I actually did cut this part of the video where like all you get from talking to a chick is rejection and harassment. You get rejected by her and harassed by other men. You get some RNH. You just had the wrong glasses. Well, that's another stupid thing. It's like they don't even know if I wear these when I talk to a broad. And if you're typing the one, how does she know what you have on anyway? I'm supposed to believe when I speak to somebody on Reddit, they like scan through the computer. Oh my God. So I said this chick stuff has really melted people's brains. Like it seems because and I said before that like I believe there's actual critiques that can be made. Like when somebody says, you gave up, right? It's all right, that's legitimate, but they're not explaining why I should continue or making a case for why, the best days are ahead with any evidence. And it just seems like people who don't agree with me on this, the only two things they can do is either try to trash talk you over whatever traits of yours they don't like, or they try to like gas you up to believe that there's going to be this magic broad that shows up. And actually, when I have my friend on the stream again, we're going to discuss how we've both spoken to our parents, and like neither of those pairs has admitted or has like what's a good way of saying it? They all admit that they had multiple partners. So like this idea that you're just going to finally meet this one person and go on a date with them and live happily ever after 8, 9, 10 years is really they're putting a lot of faith into one person. They don't think before they start spouting out what they say towards you. Only losers give up scene pans to a 50-year-old scrolling through dating websites. You'll never catch me on one of those damn things again. Always have to judge or overanalyze your appearance and such and try to cite as the reason you aren't getting a date. Like the guy that had to convince himself I was 5'5". Oh my God, that was because like a part of me was so tempted to put my license on the screen, but I would have to cut out like the other. But it's like all they're gonna do is just not remember what my height is and just keep asking me that forever. So what's the point? Like, what's the point of answering a question that is just gonna keep getting asked of you? Meet the magic woman who will give you a chance that both of us aren't privy to the evidence of. Yeah, that makes sense. But like Megumi, it's even worse when you consider that actual adults who found somebody admit they had multiple partners. So like if it takes 10 years to get with one broad and it's anticlimactic and she, goes on one date and says to hell with you, or for whatever reason chooses to cut you out as other chicks in the past have done before even going on a date, you have no reason to believe this is going to get any better, because if it took 10 years to get with one person, who's to say the exact same thing doesn't repeat itself? But that's why I said these naysayers don't actually think out the things they say. They just construct a series of circumstances and tell you to blindly believe in it. Magumi says exactly. I've been watching since you uploaded a video about why is a two-way prostitute is better, and it actually is. Well, that's because I know that people are going to make fun of someone for how old they are and not getting screwed. So I figure, I really don't see what the benefit is to holding out hope that this woman is going to show up and take this off of your hands after all of them keep acting the way that they do and won't even go on a date. Just show up to a date with stilts under a suit will be. Damn, I think there's a character that does that. I'm forgetting their name. I just didn't see a benefit to holding out hope. But you do have people who will try to shame someone for losing it to one of them, and one of the arguments they made is that you'll fall in love with this person. I think you have some special connection with them, which I could never be convinced of, because I mean, like for example, there are chicks I think are attractive on OnlyFans, but if they're going to tell me, oh my God, I love you so much, you're so amazing, and I know that this person has 10, 20, 30 other people paying for their service, I can't be convinced. Like I said, there's no. I think people are damned if they do, damned if they don't. But I think that in the long run, it's more beneficial to just have a prostitute do it than to like play Russian roulette with all these random broads that won't even go on a date, much less take their clothes off. So it's like, why even bother? It's the truth after all. If you haven't had any success 10 years ago, what's to say the next 10 years will be different from the success that that evaded you in the past? That's what I was talking about. And then remember the part about how you're set up to fail, where they tell you to have a bunch of money, and then when you get nothing but gold diggers around you, and you don't want that, and then you only try to speak to women who have the same amount of money as you, they try to say that your selectiveness is why you're not with anybody. But even though they're the ones who told you to have this thing so you'd be more attractive, so like they've created a circumstance where that they're now using to blame you for why you're in the fate that you're in in the in the situation that you're in. A platoon of men behind the paywall. Yeah, like imagine, uh, Eurodollar, you mean so much to me, and I think of you every day. And as she's saying that, you see the other 40 guys. It's not worth it at all. Like I said, there was an actor I saw in two shows when I was younger, and she has an OnlyFans. I almost made a video about it, and I was just gonna laugh at the fact that there are actually people who think they have some kind of special connection with her from seeing this, from like subscribing on there. I just don't take like. There are some actors or actresses that will get with male actors, and you've seen some male actors get with random chicks occasionally. But I just can't see a circumstance where an actress is supposedly so interested in you specifically, especially if she's on a website where her whole thing is to make everybody feel like they matter to her. I lied to a prostitute. I knew that I should have done it a long time ago, and I realized I'm gonna put double the money on some that I put on a. Well, I don't know. It just seems like people's idea of relationships is for you to take care of another person, and if men only want chicks to get screwed, I don't really see where they should even bother with regular broads. Like that guy that paid for that storage unit for that idiot with that they have a kid with now. If he would have spent less money with the hooker over the course of a year that he saw, every couple of weeks, whatever, than with this broad and paying for her crap as she was cheating on him and cursed him out at the same time. I love how that's the longest relationship between people my age that I've seen, because every time people come on, they're like, once you get with the woman, everything will be so great. It's like all that dude's problems started because of her. I'll never be desperate enough for some broad to want to go broke over her. That has never happened. It's just sad that like it really feels like there's nothing to gain from talking to them. Like if you get with one, you have to hope that they don't try to get money out of you. Uh, and then it's like if you're not with one, all people do is talk trash about it. So like I just don't see where I have any use for them. Like it just everything that's related to the way they act and the way people act when you're not with them just screams this is not an ideal circumstance. And then if you say no, they don't all act that way, uh, you have to hope that whichever one likes you back at last doesn't do to you what that guy had done to him. I'm so done with people. I don't even understand them anymore. They They draw conclusions I don't comprehend. I really do think this chick stuff has melted a lot of people's brains. Like I don't want relationships with people where they cost me a bunch of money for stuff that can be easily avoided. The only reason that guy paid for a storage unit is because she cursed out the landlord where she lived and got put out. Like who why should it be your burden for her stupidity? Just like my best friend, if I had to if speaking to him meant that I had to pay for some crap that he didn't even need, I would stop speaking to him because that's not fair to me. Hey, flip the genders. Let's say I got thrown out of my of wherever because of me running my mouth, and then I had some thing you had to pay for every month as a if, as a woman. Would you want to do that? Would I be worth shelling out over $1,000 a year uh, just because of the size of my banana? Like, really? And that's why I said, like, if all these relationships do is cost you and is have financial costs, the person is a jerk. Like, I don't get what the point of it is. Because you aren't human, that's why, yeah. Because I know for a fact she never spent that much on him, on anything. But again, a lot of guys will put up with a bunch of stuff just to, and I guarantee you, if I were to put up her picture, and she is one of the just one of the people I despise the most. So there is always that temptation. I guarantee you, whether it was 9 people watching or 90 people watching, nobody would say that that woman was attractive enough to lose all of that money over. He damn near was acting like he was her dad. Girls these days are very different and want to be spoiled and very hard to satisfy. And in the end, she'll probably. She did. That's the point. That like as he was doing this, I mentioned on my stream on Saturday, I went to the mall and saw her and some other dude hugged up. I was just like, what the hell? And then a few days later, that scandal broke out where he apparently because the guy had confronted her in the past about cheating. So it's like I don't understand what there was to gain from being with that person. Like you lost money. You're with someone who doesn't like you enough to stay committed to. Like, what's the point? And now you have a kid you can't even take care of. But like that's why I don't get why people online romanticize relationships because just as there are platonic relationships that are unhealthy, there are romantic ones that are also unhealthy. And to like gas people up into believing that this one woman that finally agrees to go on a date with them is going to create this better circumstance by virtue of her gender, I think it's completely absurd. But see, they don't like it when scenarios like this are recounted because it cracks that perfect image. See, this is what's happened. A lot of people will tell you that relationships are the way they've always been, which Megumi, where were these different romance groups 20, 30, 40 years ago? They didn't exist. So that already should be an indication of it not being the case. But there was an expectation that you as a young man who was not in jail, who just like just acted like a normal guy, were going to experience relationships or at least dates with several women. And now it's like they've created a circumstance where you have to jump through a bunch of hoops and they're surprised that people don't want to put up with this anymore. And people recognize it as not being normal. Well, the narrative is to blow smoke up your behind into believing that all these chicks are perfect and amazing, which is not the case. Like it never should have happened with like all these different guys that can't get with the woman. Women individually are not so damn amazing as to be so massively superior to your average man as to require as much effort as people extol out. When it gets to a point where you're being told that you have to go to the gym, you have to own some amount of money, not to get with the woman who, let's say, is an actress and owns something herself, but just a random regular woman, it's insane because I would never ask somebody that was interested in me to go to the fitness center so that I might maybe go on a date with them. That's crazy. But that's why I said people have taken the opposite sex and they've turned them into gods among men. And then they're surprised when, after creating all of these new standards for men to adhere to and none for women to adhere to, nobody wants to put up with it anymore. Like, it's a big shock to them. Take a look behind the facade. It ain't that hard to see the reality. Well, like I said, the only reason men put up with a lot of the stuff that women do is because a lot of them are genuinely convinced if they don't do this stuff, nobody will ever like them. And I would rather be single than be with the woman that cost me a bunch of money that I didn't deserve to lose. I didn't curse anybody out. What she did is not my fault, so but I have to pay for it. I just think people deserve better than relationships that, you can look at objective ways in which they have hurt that person. The new society created this. Don't let anybody tell you that this is normal. Because I guarantee you, Mr. Tiger, if you went around saying the only way to get with you was to go to the gym and have six figures, all the rest of that trash, people would laugh at you. They would giggle. They would ha ha. My resolve. I'm just saying, I think I would be interested in a partner that does not try to extract something out of me and actually likes me for me than doing all of this stuff so that somebody might maybe like me. Because remember, that guy paid all that money, which is what people say you should have to get with a woman that'll like you, and he still got cheated on. Just wish many others would take the same stance on this. Like I said, I can live with people being convinced this is normal, but it's like they're the ones pushing their delusions on me. I don't go around harassing people for still wanting to talk to chicks. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it. I comprehend. Hey, Magumi, remember in that video I said I preach acceptance while being met with intolerance? You accept chicks for having different religious beliefs, political beliefs, living in different countries, living alone or living with their parents, smoking or drinking while you do neither one of those things. And then in exchange for your tolerance, you get told that you're like a piece of trash. You need to change who you are, and nobody will ever like you. I mean, those are not exaggerations or hyperbole. I've been into chicks that were atheists, that were Catholic like myself, a Muslim, a Jew. Like, I don't care. Ones that lived in the U.S., ones that lived in the U.K. It didn't matter. But you're supposed to feel bad for being accepting while not being met with acceptance. And people think that's normal. No, Tiger. I said I was willing to date they don't date, but I was willing to get with a Muslim woman who I liked. I thought was smarter than, most of the chicks I had spoken to. But she short-circuited just like the rest of the Decepticons. Yeah, you compromise, but they don't compromise anything at all. You bend over backwards to get with this person, and then they tell you to go to hell. I mean, hell, I haven't even mentioned that in the past month, I had a person who literally stood me up 6 times for phone calls, and then didn't say anything to me for over a month, and they admitted that they weren't being receptive. That's my point. Like, if I'm doing so many bad things, why do these people keep apologizing to me? I tell you, that broad that the gold digger I dated, before we spoke, she was an angel. She was so nice. How are you doing? What's up? How was your day? Are you all right? And then after you agree to date her, shh, buy me this, buy me that, buy me this, buy me that, buy me this, buy me that. The hell with that. the biggest gold digger in U.S. history. She should be like, they're gonna put the year she was born and in the in a history book. They're like, this is the origin, the greatest gold digger of them all. And it's gonna be like a whole bunch of different dudes she tried to do that to. And look, I don't have a problem laughing at her because she didn't get anything from me. I'm not like that guy. I actually have self-worth. I'm gonna try to smuggle some coins on me on the premise of having a triangle. Like I said, if I were to give money to my best friend, at least that's someone that I know actually likes speaking to me. Unless him speaking to me for 13 years was part of some elaborate ruse to like eventually ask me for something. At least that's someone that doesn't ask me for anything other than the time of speaking to me, like just to talk. People that actually like you for you and not what you own. Yeah, she definitely sold for the coins. That's why I said we Autobots have to remain vigilant. Trying to steal my energon. Hey, that brawl with the kid stole that guy's energon. First she got his money. Then she put him in jail. No, before that she cheated on him. Then she put him in jail. Then she had him have a bastard kid that neither one of them can take care of. And it's like, why would I want that? And then people go, no, don't worry, that won't happen to you. That won't occur. No, this woman that we've never seen before, if you just keep holding out hope, she's gonna like you for you. And once you get with her, it's gonna be happily ever after. Oh, what's that? Your parents say that they both were with multiple people before they got with each other. And if it takes you 10 years to go with one person, you can reasonably deduce that it'll probably take another 10 years, if not longer, to get with another person. So your chance of finding someone who likes you are very limited. Oh, no, don't listen to that logic. No, this one person, we're going to gas up and make them seem so perfect. And then like they create an unrealistic fantasy that no woman can adhere to because they're putting all of their impressions on the perfect partner into a person they've never even met. Like I said, this chick stuff has driven people insane. I never thought I'd see the day that it would be other men harassing me about, like, if women came on my videos and they called me a piece of trash and said I was ugly, it would at least make sense. Like this would be something that I guess to an extent affected them in general. But it's men doing that. And nobody thinks that's weird. Like I said, I'll go to my grave knowing that the majority of people who have spoken disparagingly about my appearance are supposedly heterosexual men. And again, I don't talk trash about the way women look on this channel. I don't. Because my problem has always been with behavior. Sure, there are women I don't find attractive, but I don't put up anyone's picture. This is strictly about ridiculous behavior. You can have attractive women that do this, ones that you think are hideous, whatever, that act in a ridiculous manner. And the response to this behavior is not to defend it, but to try to attack me in some physical manner, hoping that makes sense or is a good way of dodging, the actual points being made. White knights to the rescue, save them all. They're hating you for self-worth. I mean, like, I just think it's insane that your worth as a person is determined by, because like if I had a daughter, I would never tell her, unless you get some man to put his little banana in you, you won't be good enough or you're mediocre. If I had a son, I wouldn't tell him, if some random woman that's never accomplished a damn thing besides having a triangle between her legs doesn't like you, you're mediocre. You have no upward mobility. Like, who does that? It's extremely toxic. This is why these different violent acts happen, because when you convince people that their entire worth is determined by random women, it's a recipe for disaster. Yes, an unrealistic fantasy. Not every man can have $1 million. Not every man is 6'2". Not every man, well, some of us are, but not every man, like, they have, when you go and watch that video that I've been criticized for everything, understand That when everything is a fatal flaw, when everybody just nitpicks little pieces of you, then nothing is a fatal flaw because if they criticize you for everything, you can't take any of it seriously because you know that no matter what you do, somebody will nitpick a part of your appearance as a way to discredit your legitimate disillusion with talking to broads. An unrealistic fantasy, Megumi, very much indeed. Like I said, that guy that woman got with, he's not rich or wealthy. He was it's so crazy how like when you live in the real world and you know the types of men that have gotten with women, you can just so easily not believe in the stuff people type on this website, like how they try to use chicks as a way to judge if you're a good person or not, and then you know that serial killers have been married. All the like horrible world leaders have had some woman at some point, but they're gonna tell me about how great they are and how they're the determiners of who's a top class man and who isn't. If the men they're with are so great, why does the friend zone exist? Remember we went over that before. I'm such a piece of trash, why do these women with boyfriends like talking to me? Nobody can explain that. Arbiters of who is worthy. Yeah. I know they didn't seem to address these cases when they are brought up. They never do. That's why they have to talk trash about things that have nothing to do with anything, because addressing the actual topic would require them to have an argument that is able to dissuade the opinion being conveyed, and it just isn't there. Look at Kevin at the 11th hour ranger. Mormon females. Okay, well, maybe they are. I don't know. I've never been around any, at least knowingly. But look, I'm gonna get off of here. I think I've spoken enough about this. Um, like I said, I just don't get people. They have turned very simple things like wanting people to watch your video or comment on it, or just wanting to go on a date into these extraneous requests that are almost godlike accomplishments that just and they want to control how you respond to it because I'm supposed to just shut my mouth, not be upset about getting turned down, not be upset that something I worked hard on and go the way I wanted to. And I think that's insane. I think people should, if people can come on here and they can criticize what I do or make, I should be able to criticize any and everything I want to. It's only fair. But see, that's the point. They're not trying to be fair. They're attempting to have it be this one-sided thing where they get to attack you over everything over here, and you have to play hush hush over there. And it doesn't work that way.